for steel production, you need these massive blast furnaces that require quite a lot of it. Normal electricity that you generate is maybe not used that much in that type of production. You use various types of fossil fuels instead. But the price on those fossil fuels would be lower if the normal electricity could be produced from, for example, large-scale nuclear energy programs. Building new nuclear energy is, of course, more expensive, but extending the lifetime of already existing nuclear power plants doesn't really come with that huge costs. So, for example, Germany, instead of dismantling their nuclear power plants that could have still remained for another 10 years or so, instead these decisions have been taken in Germany, in Belgium, in Netherlands, and in other countries, that we are phasing out nuclear power, despite these power plants still having a good 10 years in them or so. So many mistakes have been made.
Yes, and they continue to be made, and that's what's so, from a historical point of view, so just amazing, hard to understand.
Yes, and again, when we look at history, there was a quite interesting article published in Foreign Policy a day or two ago, written by Mr. Dalibor Rohac, this Slovak expert writing for the American Enterprise Institute. He played with an idea of a new Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, this time including Ukraine and potentially Belarus as well, after the downfall of Lukashenko. He wrote this article not suggesting that Poland and Ukraine would form any new form of state during this war. That would naturally mean that Poland would be drawn into the war immediately as a participant. But he viewed it as a way of guaranteeing peace, that once peace has returned to Ukraine, to make sure that this won't be just a short interlude of a few years while the Russians amass new military hardware and maybe take 5 or 6 years to build up their army again. The main problem, according to Mr. Rohac, was that he doesn't believe that there will be unity in Europe for EU and NATO expansion to include Ukraine.
No.
And thus he said that a way around it could be for another Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth to be created. And then Ukraine would, just as when East and West Germany united into one state, that this would be a sped-up process.
That's very ambitious, isn't it? I mean, I'm very keen to draw the historical parallel, because it was something which Churchill suggested in 1940, I think, a union between the United Kingdom and France as a way of course, by that stage, and probably long before that stage, the French had lost all willpower to defend themselves at all, so that didn't come to very much.
And another example, during the Second World War, the governments of the exile governments of Poland and Czechoslovakia were also getting into some quite serious discussions over forming some form of confederation. Lithuania was also supposed to be part of it. So these ideas have existed previously. Naturally, this is something that doesn't really have support neither in Poland nor in Ukraine. So it is not something that is...
And I can imagine there's certainly no support anywhere else.
No.
Certainly not within the European Union or within NATO. That
is quite certain. That would have to be a fait accompli, and then we would see how other countries would react. But I don't bring up this article to somehow advocate for this solution, but it is a very interesting intellectual exercise, so to say. The Poles, after this war, they will have to think a lot about how to provide security for themselves in this part of Europe for years to come. Even if peace returns, it will always be in people's memory that Russian aggression didn't disappear in 1989. We for some reason we thought that, oh yes, that war against Georgia in 2008 and that annexation of Crimea, they were small incidents. It doesn't mean that war has returned to the European continent for the first time on a large scale after the Second World War, but that thinking is definitely out the window now.
Adam, as usual, the clock in the corner of the room has defeated us, so I'll have to ask you to pause there, but we'll pick it up next time. There we are, as usual, defeated by time, but fear not, if you join us next time, as we hope you will, we'll pick up the story here on Poland Daily History. In the meantime, thank you for watching and see you next time.